Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and all of my baggage droppers around the world, welcome to another episode of the Drop Your Baggage podcast, where we talk to people that are dope, that can bring you hope and show you a technique that can help you cope. I am your host, the self-talk engineer, Charles Woolfork, the undefeated, undisputed self-talk engineer. And if you are tuning in, please consider hitting the like and subscribe button. And if you're on a podcast platform, give a brother 5 stars and some feedback as well. Now, today I have an outstanding guest right here. This is Nathan Todd. Now, Nathan is from South Carolina, South Kakalaka, and born 4 pounds, 10 ounces. And he was diagnosed with cerebral palsy at 2 years old. And he had all these different labels. And, you know, he talks about how our label is really, quote unquote, supposed to be by society. You're supposed to be this, you're supposed to be that. But now he has began his coaching business with No Label Defines Me Coaching, and his podcast called Conversations with the Loneliness Coach podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, I bring to you Nathan Todd. What's up, Nathan?
Hey, man, I'm all hyped up for this for sure. With that intro and that energy, man, that's what it's all about. It's all about the energy you bring to life. So I'm looking forward to where we go during this conversation.
Hey, man, since day one of where I met you, man, I've been like, you've always inspired me, and you've always given me that type of energy back too. So I'm just feeding off of you, cuz that's all it is. Hey, so like, please, for the few people that don't know you out there, please tell them something different than what I already told them.
Yeah, so something different is really one of the key things that started this whole journey was weightlifting. And so a lot of people don't necessarily know that when my dad was younger, he had a tryout for the Atlanta Falcons. He was contracted to be one of their players. And so being a part of sports has always been a part of my life. My brother played sports. I always wanted to be like Joe Montana when I was growing up. And it was like, okay, there are things in life that, guess what? Especially people in the millennial or ex-zillennial, whatever the heck, in my generation, right? We got told a lot. We could do anything we want to. And that's not necessarily true. Just because I wanted to be Joe Montana, I was never going to be Joe Montana. But I say that because one of the things that I learned is I may not be able to do things such as team sports in the way that I would like to, in a competitive way, but weightlifting was something that I could do, and I could do it for myself to the best of my ability, and I didn't have to have a team around me to make that work. And so I remember driving my brother. I was sitting on the couch. This was about 6 years ago now. And I was like, man, I really don't like the way that I feel. I don't like the way that I look. I'm just not feeling it right now. And my brother walks in and he's like, hey, you know, my gym, we can invite people during the weekend. Do you want to go? And I was like, well, I'm not doing anything else. So let's go. And I remember I was driving home, for the people that can see, and got my hands on the steering wheel. And I remember my arms were shaking after we were done. And I was like, oh, there's something that was missing there. And then for a 4-year stretch, I was going almost probably average 5 days a week.
Oh,
yeah.
You really committed yourself to weightlifting. What was some of your favorite exercises? Just to ask, like.
Yeah, so deadlift, bench press, and those are my 2 favorite. And then squat, just because it's really helpful when you have CP. It's really hard and difficult to do.
I can only imagine.
But I mean, it's a needed body part for having a longer and higher quality of life, I believe. So.
Yeah, 100. Like, do you? So you can still use your legs?
Yeah.
Oh, cool. That's what's up. That's very cool. Okay, good. Good. I thought you were just
So
like, go ahead.
here's the thing.
What's up?
A lot of people with cerebral palsy,
Mm-hmm.
they do use wheelchairs.
Mm-hmm.
And here's a funny thing about humans. So somewhere along the line, wheelchair got associated with they can't move.
Mm-hmm.
And so everybody assumes that somebody in a wheelchair can't get up from the chair and walk around.
Mm-hmm.
And like I remember one time watching somebody pick another dude up, and I'm like, wait, stop. Because they assume that there's no feeling.
Yeah.
I'm like, that dude can feel everything you're doing. He's just not empowered enough to tell you to stop. Don't pick him up.
Wow. Yo. So like that. Okay. So that's one of the things then that's a part of those labels that you make sure that you break with other folks that, well, including myself, like you're not wheelchair bound. That's a label.
Yeah.
Or you're not handicapped. That's a label. You know what I mean? So like, when did you start to notice these labels and want to like fight against them?
Fourth grade is when I really started to notice, because it was field day. And, in field day, the biggest thing to do is tug of war.
Mm.
And so they do all the grades. You do tug of war against all the winning classes of the grades. My grade won fourth grade, so we were going up against the fifth graders. And I remember sitting there. I got in the back of the rope, so I'm anchored down, and we lost. And I remember walking into the classroom after the day is over, and I remember a kid coming up to me and saying, "Hey, Nathan, just so you know, you're the reason we lost." And so talk about feeling inadequate at that moment.
Yeah.
And that's played a big role in a lot of the things that have both things that I've struggled with, but also the thing that gives me that push to like rip those labels off, right?
Yeah.
Because I know that feeling, and I know that nobody should ever feel that way, because you're not broken. Even if you're struggling, you're not broken. And yet that word and that message gets thrown around so often that even now, the analogy of the glow stick, see that all the time. You had to be broken to shine your light. I don't agree with that. It's just a cool story to say because it's an easy analogy to bring to life, but you're not broken.
I agree. Like a lot of people say they have to fix themselves. You know what I mean? Or, hey, Charles, how can you help me? Or how can you fix me? I'm like, dude, you don't have to be fixed. All you got to do is remember who you are. Like, you are the divine expression of the creator. Like, you are the creator. Just as much as my fingernail is a part of me, you are a part of the creator. You are the creator. You know what I mean? So like, you can manifest and you can do whatever the hell you want to do. And you're not, there's like, I believe that the universe doesn't make anything that's broken. You know what I mean? You have a specific reason, you have a specific purpose for being here. And just because you're going through a hard time, or just because you are seeing yourself from someone else's perspective or point of view, doesn't mean you're broken. It just means that you need to reframe how you see your life and how you see yourself.
Yeah, 100%. And I'm not a super religious dude, but there's a story in the Bible that I love, and it's because of my life experience. I look at it from a much different perspective than most people. So there's a story where a guy can't walk, he can't move, and so Jesus comes to town and he's preaching. And so what do they do to get the guy to see Jesus preach? They lower him through the roof.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So everybody's like, oh, that's amazing. That guy got to see Jesus. And I'm like, well, so everybody's focused on that guy having a problem, but maybe the fact that he was born the way that he was the thing that was used to get all the people that brought him and lowered him through the roof to see that message.
Yeah.
And without him being that way, they would have never received the message either.
Wow. What a reframe. Holy cow. Yeah. The sheesh. Like the blessing of him being in that state was also a blessing to the people around him, because they may not have ever gone to go see Jesus.
Yeah.
Yo, what a person. That is beautiful, dog. Okay, yeah, that's awesome. It's like things like that, it changes everything around. My family cares for individuals with developmental disabilities, excuse me. And some folks that are slower than others are the ones that need the most patience, yo. So like I remember that my patience was definitely developed during that time where I was caring for these clients. Like, so it was a blessing in two ways. Like I was able to serve these folks that needed it and that wanted these services that I was giving them, cooking for them, cleaning for them, taking them wherever they need to go, just making sure that they're safe and comfortable and learning what they needed to learn so they can hopefully get rid of me one day. And then on the other hand, I was learning about perspective as well. Like I had gratitude for my abilities. I was grateful to make sure that I could serve and gave me more of an affinity to serve. And also, I was just in a position where I could have gotten aggravated so many times because of something they might have done that was being annoying, or because of a mistake that they made that they didn't want to admit. But I just grew so much more compassion and patience because of working with them. So yeah, it's everything works out for, like, the universe. It unfolds for our favor. You know what I mean? For us at all times. So like, go ahead.
Yeah, I want to add to that because I also did as we talked about, I myself have a disability. It's a developmental disability, so I had it since birth. But I worked with people with intellectual disabilities too, every week. And what I can tell you is those are the people to pay attention. If you really want to learn about what life is about, go pay attention to those individuals because they care for you on another level, and they don't care about what you can do for them.
Not at all.
They care for you because you're human.
Amen. Like, the labels don't matter. What matters is like the present moment. And of course, the past when it comes to Power Rangers and Boy Meets World, but that's a different conversation. So you began your coaching business, but you also you began this podcast, Conversations with the Loneliness Coach podcast. Man, tell us some more about your podcast.
Yeah, so even before it was Conversations with the Loneliness Coach, I started when Facebook Live had just come out. It was brand new. And I was sitting at an event and with all these amazing people. And the question said, wouldn't it be awesome to just spend some time talking to some of these people every week? And so what happened was it started as just, okay, I'm going to go live with my friends and we're going to have a conversation. And then it kind of, as I kept having conversations and technology shifted, I finally moved it over to a podcast. And as I started to get more into loneliness, I wanted to shift it specifically into loneliness and connection and what that looks like for people. And so I tell you what, man, those first live interviews, those were the best. And they were the best because not only was I having a great conversation with the person across from me, but the interaction from the people who were able to watch and join with us live. Because people ask amazing questions that you may not be thinking about.
Real talk.
And you're like, oh, that's a great question. Let's talk about that, and let's see where it goes. So I really love that, and I love just connecting with people, man. And questions are everything.
Amen. So like, I got a question for you. What made you want to talk more about loneliness?
Yeah, I remember I was with one of my coaches,
Mm-hmm.
and he's like, what do you think your friends have a problem with, but they don't talk about? And I was like, I think first we talk very surface level.
Yeah.
And so we don't really say what's going on. And if we polled everybody and you had to be completely honest, like some Harry Potter, you took a potion and you couldn't lie.
Mm-hmm.
If you asked people if they were actually lonely and they felt disconnected, they would tell you yes.
Mm-hmm.
And so that got me starting to do the research. And I mean, at that point, research was like, I mean, we're well over 50% of people right now experience loneliness at any given time.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, one of the things is we experience it. We don't talk about it. We don't talk about it for a couple of reasons. One, I don't think we always know how to express that that's actually what's happening. And then two, we have horrible relationships with the words good, bad, right, and wrong. And so to feel lonely is bad. If I feel lonely and anybody knows, it might be wrong for me to feel that way.
Mm-hmm.
And so we just sit, and what we really want to do most, we've built up a resistance, like going to the gym, of where we just go into isolation mode. And well, nobody wants to hear my problems. Nobody wants to hear my problems. And one of the things I hate right now that I see a lot of is, well, they're my problem, so what are you going to do about it? Again, it goes back to the fixing thing. I don't think you always have to fix. Even by just listening to somebody, that helps with a problem. Even if you don't have, even if the problem isn't yours.
Real talk. One of the best things that you can do is just to allow yourself to listen and hear what somebody has to say. You know, a lot of people don't even, you know, especially, I got my girlfriend Bree, and usually she doesn't need, like when she's telling me how she's feeling, she doesn't really want to talk about it. She doesn't want to like have a conversation. She just wants me to shut up and listen. And I'm like, yo, like it's so hard for me because, you know, I love her and I want to, you know, make sure that she's comfortable and make sure that, you know, she doesn't feel these bad feelings. But
wait, you're missing a point there, though.
I know.
Like,
I know.
The real point and the label, right? You're also a man. And what we think about is we always want to fix problems.
Yes.
That's the way we're designed.
Exactly. So like, you know, I that's the thing. When I just listen to her and I acknowledge her feelings, that means the most. And what you were talking about with that word lonely, bruh, that word lonely, it really hits me in the gut. I don't think I've ever told somebody that I'm lonely, you know, and the fact of the matter is, I don't even think that I've called somebody up when I'm lonely. I kind of like stew in it and I'll distract myself more than anything. You know what I mean? Because you don't want to call, hey man, what's up, bro? I want to call you because I'm just lonely. It seems so like shameful.
Okay. Well, hey,
you know what I mean?
Hey, since we know we're gonna be doing some exercises, right?
What up?
Let me ask you a couple questions real quick, and
wait.
All right,
this is my podcast. What you talking about? No, I'm just kidding. Go for it.
All right. So close your eyes real quick.
All right.
All right, and just breathe. And I want you to, as I ask you these questions, right, just think about whatever comes up for you. It's what's supposed to come up for you. Okay. Right. And you don't have to say, and we can talk about it after I finish asking. I'm just going to ask a couple of them. But I want you to imagine that time when you're like, I never wanted to call you and tell you I'm lonely. That experience, right? I want you to imagine that experience. And I want you to think about when you're in that experience of loneliness, what do you see? All right. Now, you could see nothing. You could see a specific environment. You could see people. I don't know, but whatever's coming up is what is supposed to come up for you. And now we know what you see. I want you to think about when you're in that experience, what do you hear? Again, it could be nothing. It could be something very specific. Whatever it is, that's what you're supposed to hear. Now, I want you to imagine you walk up to this table and there's a box of crayons on the table. You pick up the box, you open it, there's one crayon inside. You go ahead and pull that crayon out and look at it. You've never seen it before, but it says lonely. What color is that crayon? And then finally, I want to ask you, as you think about this experience and loneliness, if loneliness was an inanimate object and it just it showed up right now, what's that inanimate object? And then when you're ready, you can open your eyes.
That's a good one, bro.
So what did you notice?
I noticed that the color of loneliness is purple for some reason. I learned that what I saw was nothing. I saw like an empty house, a big old empty house. And what I heard was my internal conversations, the conversations that were in my mind. Because when I'm going through that loneliness, I want to distract myself. However, I also want to make sure that I'm quiet, that I quiet down and I can hear whatever beliefs are going on in my mind at the time. Because, I'm a self-talk engineer, so I can get rid of those limiting beliefs from whatever comes up. So just seeing also I once again, I noticed shame, the shame of wanting to call somebody, but not wanting to bug them. Right. That stood out to me. The inanimate object, I didn't get a hold of. I didn't get a hold of it. If anything, the inanimate object, honestly, was the crayon. The crayon was the inanimate object because I was thinking of maybe leaves, but leaves didn't really resonate, or this, that, and the other. But the crayon, that one crayon in the box, that made a big difference to me. That was what really stood out to me as far as something that belonged in a group, but was lonely. That one thing. It's very interesting.
You know what I took away from that, and the object, as you were talking, the thing that stuck out to me was the empty house. So I think that's really interesting. I obviously don't know 100% what that means to you, but it means something.
So when I came to the island of Kauai, I was house sitting for about 4 years, and it was a 4-bedroom, 3-bathroom, multiple living room, big, porch, inside and outside porch. It was just a huge house, right? And after I got divorced from my ex-wife, I was in there by myself a lot. And I just remember me being in that big old house and noticing that I'm lonely, noticing that I want to distract myself, and being no, turn off the radio, turn off the podcast, turn off the TV, sit with yourself and see what are you thinking, and see if you can be in the company of yourself. How is what type of relationship are you having with yourself right now? How are you feeling? And getting in tune with that. And sometimes I would be lonely.
Yeah.
So,
and it's interesting because, again, as we touched on, people associate that with bad.
Yeah.
And realistically, it's a survival signal that is given to you for a very important reason. And that reason is to say, hey, you're a little bit disconnected right now. So go get with your tribe, get with people, other people, and But what happens is we come up with a story that says, oh yeah, I'll call Charles tomorrow. I won't call him right now when it's on my mind. I'll call him tomorrow. And then that tomorrow turns into the next day, turns into the next day. And I have these words that we say that are words of disconnection. And one of them is busy.
Yo,
you have
real
to
talk.
be mindful of your 4-letter words. Busy, right. Fine, good, okay, sure. Like those are all words we use to protect ourselves, but they disconnect us
big time. Yeah.
Because when do we usually say good? We usually say, how are you feeling?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm good. Good. That's not a fucking feeling.
Hey, that's real talk. Lately I've been saying blessed, but that's on another conversation. Yeah, you're right. Good. I'm fine. Okay. I'm okay. Those are all big signals. Like, those are all signals that, I mean, they could be signals of somebody that's going through something internally, or it could just be general conversation. How you doing? I'm good. Like, that's a programming too. That's something automatically to say, I'm fine. Because you don't want to say, man, I'm over here, I'm messed up over here, yo. You don't, because there's an amount of rapport that you gotta gain with somebody before you dive into that. You know what I mean? There's an amount of comfort, like there's an amount of comfort that you have to have before you just tear yourself open, and if you do that, if you are willing to be open and vulnerable, and the other person and the other person is not ready to receive that, it's like, dog, can we talk about this after I've had my coffee? Like, yeah, I understand that, but I'm on this rush right now because I just watched this game. Like, so nobody wants to be rejected and nobody wants to be judged. So therefore, they would rather say I'm good or I'm okay or I'm fine instead of really going into the conversation of how they really feel.
Yeah. When in my coaching program, I have some pillars that I believe have to happen to create connection. And it's first, you have to be courageous.
Yeah.
And second, you have to risk rejection. In every connection you ever make, you're risking rejection, even if it's connecting with yourself. How many times do you sit with yourself and you're like, oh, no, I don't know. If I'm going to be honest with myself, I don't want to see I just want to ignore what I know to be true. And so you have to risk putting yourself in a space to be rejected. And I think for me, one of the beautiful things about having a disability that's very visible is I've been stared at every day of my life that I've been in public, every day. And I could either choose to let that make me annoyed that people are staring, or I could know that, hey, I might be the only person that they see that has this as a circumstance in their life. And so there's a lot of power in how I show up in the moment.
100%. And
look, I'm human, so there are going to be days when I'm just going to be a dick and not want to deal with people too.
Hell yeah.
And people don't even recognize that, because I get asked all the time, Nathan, how are you so happy? And are you happy all the time? You're smiling all the time. It's like, no, fuck no, I'm not happy all the time. I'm human. But they make that correlation that, oh, I think that's something to do with his disability. No.
Hey, not only have you, not only like you've embraced that, the fact that people look at you by being on a podcast, by being by starting a podcast, and also by speaking. You spoke at like multiple times as a motivational speaker, right?
Yeah, 100%.
How does that? Go ahead.
I was gonna say, so the very first time that I actually spoke, it was in front of, I don't even know how many people, but it was on local TV in the Charlotte area.
Yo.
And so that's one of the greatest gifts. My mom, she knew early on, like she just had me. And she got to figure this shit. Like her and my dad had to figure this shit out for themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody was really telling them, oh, you do, there's not a handbook. And so she had to do a lot of advocating, and she took it upon herself to be like, well, if I'm doing this, I'm going to have Nathan here so he can see what's happening and he can be a part of it. And so, I mean, I was a March of Dimes ambassador. So she would go give the big speech, and then I would come in and I would say, hey,
what is March of Dimes?
So they provide research and funding for babies who are born premature.
Understood.
To work with that. And so that's me.
Yeah, for sure.
And I would just go and I would be like, hey, thanks so much, everybody, for coming. But what that was really doing was getting me comfortable in using my voice and being seen. It didn't have to be some hour-long, like, to be motivational. You don't have to do what you see on Instagram or what you see at conferences.
Yeah.
You could be a motivational speaker that speaks for 2.5 minutes, and your story created a shift for somebody, and they went and took action in their own life. Welcome to being a motivational speaker. And this is for all the kids with disabilities or adults. You get pigeonholed into two things. You get told so many times you're an inspiration that you should be a motivational speaker, or they're like, oh yeah, go be a janitor, go be a Walmart greeter.
Yeah.
And you don't have to be either one. There's so much room in between. You can look and find other things. And being a motivational speaker, to do it the way that everybody thinks you should do it is hard shit.
How does everybody expect you to do it?
Oh, well, for me, right? Because I can only speak from my experience. Like to be up there, to be a speaker at something like Summit of Greatness,
yeah,
or a conference, or Nick Vujicic. Like obviously, he's going to be very big in the disability community,
huge,
let alone the world.
Yeah.
But so you're already, that's what you have envisioned. And you don't get that just by telling your story. That's not how all that happens. Like, yes, telling your story is important. There's a lot of other stuff that nobody really is coming along saying, well, if you really want to do this, here's what we need to, here's the skills we need to help you develop. It's not just going and saying, oh, here's my story.
So like, what else? What are those skills?
Communication. I think emotional intelligence. So working on being able to regulate your emotions is huge, especially for our community. I think being able to have somebody market and get you in front of the right people.
Yeah. Real talk
is important. And so it's not just talking. It's repping it out too. And it's realizing that something even like a podcast, that's a rep towards that bigger goal.
It's running a business is really what it is.
Yeah.
Man, you probably like, I'm glad that you broke past all those labels and you started your own business and you got your coaching and you also have your podcast. Like you're remolding. You're not breaking any molds, but you're remolding what things can be like for individuals with developmental disabilities, or just individuals in general, individuals with any label for that matter. So congratulations, dog.
That's the goal, man. Yeah. I appreciate that.
Yeah, for sure, bro. Hey, so today on the podcast, I also get an opportunity to serve as well. Because on the podcast, we talk to people that are dope, that can bring you hope and show you a technique that can help you cope. And you definitely brought me plenty of hope. And you're definitely dope. Now with this, we get to so we're going to be getting rid of a negative emotion today. And we're going to be using the technique called mental and emotional release. It's a neuro linguistic programming technique. And for all you at home, please do not do this on your own. Please go to a practitioner of neuro linguistic programming, or you can hit me up at charleswoolfork.com and go to my home page. There's a form on the front, and I would love to be a blessing to help you get whatever is on your chest, off of your chest, or off of your shoulders, if you will. Now, today, Nathan, we are going to be getting rid of the feeling of shame. Now, I felt plenty of shame throughout my life, as far as me not having a father, as far as a lot of times I felt shame because my mom, like, we were broke growing up. So I never had like the Jordans all the time. And, you know, I always felt as though I was not good enough. Like I felt shameful for that. What are some of your experiences being with shame?
Yeah. So I would say number one goes back to that early story about the tug of war, right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So I've done a lot of this work as well, and so like that version of me, whenever they come to visit, I
Mm-hmm.
gave it the name of inadequate Igor. And
Yeah.
so the shame about not being able to do certain things, and
Mm-hmm.
even the idea that like not being able to play football or a sport in the way that I wanted to,
Mm-hmm.
because I would get put in the sports where it was all disability related,
Right.
and I'm like, well, okay, this isn't the type of sport I really want to play.
Mm-hmm.
So stuff around that, and something that's come up for me recently is like the shame and asking for help.
Mm-hmm.
Like the idea that just because I didn't do something or somebody helped me with it,
Mm-hmm.
like there's an assumption that you should just be able to do it all on your own.
Mm.
And if you ask for help, there's shame attached to that.
100%.
So that's recently come up over this holiday season. So
Yeah, like
I
if you
think
ask,
those are core ones for me.
yeah, like if you ask for help, then you're weak, you know,
Yeah.
or I mean, I know about that personally for sure. Or you're inadequate in some way. And also it's that feeling of, like you were talking about earlier, that idea of being broken, like being inherently broken, like somebody, like you need to be fixed,
Yeah.
or there's something wrong with you. That brings some shame for me.
Yeah. No, I agree with that 100%. Like,
Yeah.
and to say that I talk about you're not broken, I can still get in that space for sure, where it's like, oh, wait a minute, how much do I believe this today?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Because it creeps in, and it's like, oh, here's a reminder.
Hey, just in case you forgot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Freaking mind plays tricks on you, man. So like let's get connected, the mind body connection. Um, this is the exercise where you can go ahead and close your eyes if you like and connect with your body. And when you think of those moments when you felt shame, where do you feel it in your body? Let me know.
You know what? It's like a sensation that's running up and down my whole body.
Mm.
It's not in one sitting in one place.
Mm-hmm. It's
So it's running up and down, and it just keeps running like electricity almost.
Is there a weight to it?
Right now it feels pretty heavy.
Is there like a vibration or a pressure?
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Cool. All right. You can go ahead and open your eyes. So that's something to pay attention to, because we want to make sure that we always stay connected with it. And also that'll be a good indicator that those negative emotions are getting lifted as well. So when you feel lighter, you're like, oh, snap, that stuff work.
Yeah.
Cool. Very cool. Yeah, man. Let's get this weight off of your shoulders. Let's get rid of the shame. So is it all right? So let me go ahead and give you another review. Now, all you got to do are 3 things in order for you to have a profound experience. Number one, you need to use your imagination. Number two, you got to follow directions, just like you follow Google Maps or a good recipe. And number three, you need to trust the process. Know that I'm your guide. I'm going to be leading you through this easily and effortlessly, and I come from a place of love and high vibrations.
Yep, sounds good.
Also, it's important for you to have empathy and compassion for everyone in each and every event. So making sure that you communicate with everyone in each and every event with compassion and empathy will be something that I guide you through during this exercise. Cool?
Yep.
Awesome. So let's go ahead and get into it. Is it all right with your unconscious mind for you to release this shame today and for you to be aware of it consciously?
Yeah.
Awesome. What is the root cause of this problem? The first event, which when disconnected, that will cause this problem to disappear. If you were to know, when was the first time that you felt shame when you were just a little kid? Let's keep it between the ages of birth and 7.
Yeah, I think it is that tug of war.
Right. How old were you?
That's the one that sticks out. Shoot, I don't know. How old are we? How old are we? Maybe a little bit older than 7.
A little bit older than 7. How old do you think you were?
What is that? 8, 9?
Let's say you were let's keep it at 8. Let's say you were 8 years old.
Okay. All right.
Cool. Also, let's create an imaginary timeline. Now, with your imaginary timeline, your past can be to your left, to your right, or behind you. If you were to know, where's your past?
Back there, behind me.
Where's your future?
In front of me.
Perfect. All right, let's get it. So all you have to do now is just close your eyes, relax, and let me know when you're ready for the process to drop your baggage.
Yeah, let's do it.
Awesome. So with your eyes closed, just imagine floating outside of your body as if though you were a spirit or energy, and just imagine floating above yourself right here, right now. Imagine seeing your love hat and your black hoodie, the bookcase behind you, the window to your left, screen in front of you, the circle light in front of you, the door behind you. Let me know when you can see yourself.
Yeah.
Awesome. Now, just imagine floating up above your timeline and float behind yourself and float deeper and deeper and deeper into the past, above that first event in which you felt shame when you were just a little kid after the tug of war. And just imagine floating above yourself right there, looking at the whole event like a fly on the wall. Yeah. Now, let me know when you're there.
Yeah.
Okay. You can see yourself and everyone else?
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Now just stay right there. Don't move. See yourself like a fly on the wall and just ask your unconscious mind what it needs to learn from the event, the learning of which will allow you to let go of the emotions easily and effortlessly. Your unconscious mind can preserve the learnings so that if you need them in the future, they'll be there. Just tell your unconscious mind to preserve the learnings. This is an exercise of forgiveness and acceptance. Forgiveness for yourself and others, and acceptance of yourself and others. Who do you have to forgive? What do you have to accept? Who do you have to accept? Make sure that you communicate with yourself as that little boy, and also make sure that you communicate with that other little boy and everyone else involved in the event. And as you do so, focus your attention upon how hurt people hurt people. We're all doing the best that we can with the resources and consciousness that we have. We can't control anyone else's actions, but we can control our response. We can grow stronger and wiser and learn from other people's actions and mistakes. Other people's actions have nothing to do with you. It's only a reflection of their baggage and whatever they're going through at the time. And we're better people than we were when those events occurred. You're a better person than you were when those events occurred. What is something positive and empowering you can tell yourself as that little kid and that other little kid and everyone else involved in the event with the consciousness that you have today that will allow the emotions to evaporate like water on the concrete on a hot summer day? And as you preserve these learnings, the emotions are starting to dissipate more and more until they're all gone. Just let me know when they're all gone.
Yeah.
Awesome. Now, keep your eyes closed. Don't open them until I ask you to do so. And with you hovering above the event, tell me, what did you learn from the event?
What did I learn? I learned that I was doing my best. And, I learned that we still came in second place. That's what I learned.
Mm-hmm. And is there anything that what did you have to say to that little boy, that other little boy?
Said it's all good, man. It's all good.
Awesome. And what is something that you could take with you into the future to make you a better person?
Remembering that everybody's got their own tug of war.
Mm-hmm. Fantastic. Now, just imagine floating up above your timeline and float behind you and float deeper and deeper and deeper into the past, above the dinosaurs during the prehistoric age. Let me know when you're above the dinosaurs.
Yeah.
All right. Now, as you're above the dinosaurs, just imagine floating deeper and deeper and deeper into space to where space and the atmosphere connects. And imagine your timeline is the size of a fingernail. Let me know when you're there.
Okay.
All right. Now, just imagine floating there in space, weightless, and ask yourself now, where are the emotions? Tell me, are they there or have they disappeared? Now.
Yeah, no, they're gone.
Awesome. Now, just imagine floating down inside the events. Seeing through your own eyes as a little kid and check on the emotions. Tell me, are they there or have they disappeared? Now.
Yeah, they're gone. It's all good.
Awesome. Float back above the dinosaurs and then float into space to where space and the atmosphere connects. Let me know when you're there.
Yeah.
Okay. Listen closely. Float very, very high above your timeline, above each and every event in which you felt shame from birth until now in chronological order. Don't skip one event that has a charge on it. Preserve the learnings and let go of all the shame all the way back to now. Go. Just like you did with that first event. Float above each and every event in which you felt shame from birth until now in chronological order. Don't skip one event that has a charge on it. And just like you did with that first event, preserve the learnings and let go of all the shame all the way back to now. And don't come back to now until all the shame is gone. Make sure that you communicate and see from everybody's perspective in each and every event. The more perspectives that you see from, the better of a person that you'll become and the more healing you will do. Focus your attention upon how hurt people. We're all doing the best that we can with the resources and consciousness that we have. We can't control anyone else's actions, but we can control our response. We can grow stronger and wiser and learn from other people's actions and mistakes. Other people's actions have nothing to do with you. It's only a reflection of their baggage and whatever they're going through at the time. And we're better people than we were when those events occurred. You're a better person than you were when those events occurred. What is something positive and empowering you can tell yourself and everyone else in each and every event with the consciousness that you have today that will allow the emotions to evaporate like water on the concrete on a hot summer day? And as you preserve these learnings, the emotions are starting to dissipate more and more until they're all gone. Just let me know when they're all gone.
Yeah, dude, I feel pretty good.
All right. Float down into your body and open your eyes when you're ready.
Okay, so
welcome back. Go for it.
I was like Aaron Rodgers. Remember when he used to say, relax?
Yeah.
That's what came up for me. It was like, relax, chill out. That's what was coming up. So,
yeah. How was that so powerful in each and every event?
Like, we as humans take things so serious all the time that really aren't that serious. Like, I was watching Larry King with Neil deGrasse Tyson, and one of the questions was, what happens if the earth stops spinning? He was like, well, just imagine what would happen if you automatically were in the car and you just immediately stopped. It would be a bad day on earth. You would just keep rolling. And it's like, in reality, yeah, what are we going to do about it? Like, just show up and be the best you can be. And that's what we can do in every moment. So
hell yeah. Relax.
You can make it into a commercial.
Wow. Very good. So like you okay, I gotta go through a process real quick just to make sure we check it. Do you smell chicken?
Maybe. I had COVID, so
so you can't smell nothing.
Like, ever since then, it's a little hairy on the smelling, but okay. I mean, I smell something. Okay.
Okay. I asked that question to get your mind off of the meditation. Um, can you remember a time in the past in which you used to feel that old emotion? And go back and notice if you can feel it, or you may find that you cannot.
I mean, yeah. So when I go back into the tug of war,
Mm-hmm.
it's just like, it is like, chill out, bro.
Don't just think of that one. Think of other times in your timeline in which you felt.
Yeah.
Yeah. How do those other times feel?
Yeah. It definitely took away the heaviness, and uh, what it made me think of, like, as I was going through it, is the realization that everybody, even right now, us doing this together, we're all experiencing emotions at any given point in time. So everybody's experiencing something during every interaction that we ever have. And so just to be able to notice that and to acknowledge that that's happening, it enables the release to actually happen.
Wow. Very good. Very good. I want you to float out into the future, to an unspecified time in the future, which, if the same thing would have happened in the past, you would have felt shame. But it's the future now. So see if you can find that old emotion, or you may find that you cannot.
I can't find it.
Congratulations. You just released some shame, bro. Good job. You are officially a baggage dropper.
My shame got replaced with relax.
Yeah. All right. So, like, one of the things that you said, one of the things that you said to the kid, to the other little boy, during the after the tug of war was, "It's all good." Tell me about that.
Yeah, it's just like, it was being in that moment of, dude, it's tug of war. It's elementary school, bro.
Yeah.
And we got second place out of the whole school.
Oh, how many like teams were there?
I don't know how many classes of students we had, but we got it out of the whole school.
That is cool. Okay. So it's perspective. His perspective is, bro, we still did very, very well.
Yeah, but like, it's real easy to get caught up when you're competitive and you don't know any better, to be like, what's the Ricky Bobby, if you're not first, you're last.
Yeah, hell yeah. Hey, and also when you're in elementary school, that is life. You don't have a different perspective.
Yeah.
That is life right there.
Field day is life, for sure.
So that guy was like, he was looking for a fall guy, and he was like, who can I blame around here?
It's the easiest guy. I mean, I'm not running away anywhere pretty fast, so.
Hell no. Oh, that's awesome. Oh my gosh. Very good. So okay. So how is that feeling in your body when you think of those events in the past now?
Yeah, like, it's completely like, so I talked about going up and down and like the electricity. Like right now, it stopped like right here, and it feels pretty like a solid feeling. Like, not I don't know whether it's love or what it technically is right now, but what I'm feeling, it all just went, instead of moving, and it just went and sat right there, but it's not heavy.
That is beautiful. So it went right there right by your heart.
Yeah, and that's usually when I do similar exercises where we're talking about the body. Usually stuff ends up like, I'm very heart centric in where my emotions go. And it was interesting to even just have that be like a radiating up and down and not stopping in one place.
Yeah, interesting, huh? How if that one emotion like affected your whole being,
Yeah.
Super interesting. You laughed a lot during this process. What was so funny?
No, once I like saw the relaxed and the chill out, and I was like, bro, calm down, bro. Like, how could you not? And whenever I think of shame too, like my brain, Game of Thrones, like makes me think of the woman waving her bell saying shame, shame, shame. And it's like, oh my goodness. Yeah. So it was that feeling of relaxation and chilling out.
Yeah. Not taking
so
things.
that's the lesson, right? For me, is okay in those moments. Just like, chill out, bro.
Yeah, don't take it so serious. And that's the thing, like especially when it's based upon an emotion that we've felt for so long. Like, let's not say me personally, when it comes upon an emotion that I felt for so long, and then I get triggered, I take that shit personally, like super personally. Like, yo, when it comes to like somebody embarrassing me because of my fear of rejection or my fear of judgment, if somebody were to embarrass me in front of folks, I get triggered super fast and take it personally, even if it could be a joke, yo. So like, not like, like I should have you in the background, like, chill out. Relax. Relax.
I'll record a voice message for you. Charles. Relax.
Like, hold on, give me a second. I'll pull out my phone. Thanks, Nathan. I needed that.
Yeah, man. Yeah, this has been interesting. And as you were talking about that, I was thinking about, I've said this publicly before, but it's interesting. I've had a urinal explode on me and had to go walk back to class. And it's like, that was just like, I didn't feel anything in that moment. It was like, well, what you gonna do?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, it happened. And yeah, I've just had weird stuff like that happen, and it's like, oh well, okay, just gotta go forward.
No big deal.
Yeah.
It's funny, like, bruh, the mind is so weird how one event from your childhood can shape how you react to things throughout your whole freaking life, yo.
And so here's what I'll tell you right now, what just being able to verbalize that just did. So all of that, the times when shame really popped up and is like, okay, hey Nathan,
yeah,
we're here. It has to do with my own definition of and my own label of being a man. Because, okay, thinking about tug of war. Okay, I'm going to win at all costs. I'm going to be physical and be able to do physical things. And then so it's interesting that I think is what that emotion and feeling is tied greatly to.
100%. Yo.
If you question my identity around that label, that's when I start to go. And it's real easy to do when you have a circumstance of being disabled and you don't see attractive figures on TV that are that portray disability, and you got the only one I can think of right now is Drake. I never even watched that show. I just know he played a dude in a wheelchair.
Hell no.
It's like, okay, that's a whole nother different conversation about representation. But
so true.
But that's what came up for me there.
Like feeling emasculated at times. Yeah. That definitely like evokes shame. For example, I told you about my girlfriend Bree. She has a wonderful business that she's been running for a while, and she makes a bunch more money than me because she's a jeweler. She makes jewelry. She sells jewelry. She's amazing. She's made a bunch. She makes a bunch more money than me, and that can make me feel a certain amount of like shame at times.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I'm society wise, right? The you're supposed to be supposed to be right. You're supposed to make more money than your partner. You're supposed to be able to get your girl whatever she wants. You know what I mean? And this, that, and the other. And when I look at like the resources wise, I could fall into this shame spiral. I definitely, I mean, I catch it, I nip it in the bud, but I definitely feel it. I definitely feel, or better yet, when I watch other guys play like a sport, like CrossFit training and all that stuff, and I know that I'm not like that ripped and all that stuff. I'm like, like I really need to get on my grind. I need to do like, and it's all these stories that your mind makes up about. It's about how I'm not good enough, but also it's the fact that I'm allowing society or other people's perspectives, other people's point of view, other people's standards to be my standard as well. That's when I mess up the most.
Yeah. And how often when that feeling is happening, do like those goalposts are always changing and you don't know you don't know that they're changing. That's the thing when I talk to people about boundaries and stuff too. I'm like, so when I think of boundaries, I think sports is the best analogy to use because they have out of bounds and they have all these rules set up. And I was like, well, here's the problem. You're over here playing tennis. I'm over here playing football. We haven't communicated the differences in the rules. And you don't know, if I don't know what the rules are, I don't really know how to play the game. I'm just playing my game and I'm frustrated all to hell because I'm like, wait, that's not a penalty.
So that is a great analogy. And we can pick our own game. We design our own game. There is no, we don't have to have like the conventional like games that everybody else plays. This whole game of life is about how we think about it. That's a good book, by the way, The Game of Life. Amazing book about law of attraction and manifestation. Bro, how you feeling?
I feel good. I hope that
hey, watch your 4-letter words, okay?
Okay. All right. Well, I want to see what other people get out of this conversation.
Yeah.
These are the best way you talked about in the exercise to learn from other people's perspectives. The best way is to be open to having conversations like this. And, as you were talking about your idea of like the man being a man labels, one of the things that a question that was coming up in my mind that anybody who is in a relationship can ask if you're a dude is, hey, in what ways do I provide for you? And see what your partner's answers are.
So true. It's so true. That's so like that right there hits the nail on the head, because everybody has different love languages. Everyone has different expectations. Everybody has different standards. And if you meet those without having the things that other people may have, then you need to be, or you can be, you can feel like good about yourself. And also what I've also realized is that if I don't ever meet an expectation, or if I don't ever meet a love language, or if I don't ever fit the standard, then that's okay too. And that means that I'm in for somebody else. It's like being okay with being okay. Not being okay, but like being okay with being okay with
being
yourself.
okay with being yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You know, real talk.
Yeah, man.
Hey, Nathan, you are so awesome, bruh. Thank you so much for showing up for your divine appointment.
Yeah, man. I appreciate it. This has been great.
Yeah, dog. Hey, same here. Hey, I'm gonna go ahead and tie this up in a bow, but before that, please give us one more word of wisdom.
Yeah. I was just talking to somebody about this earlier today, when it comes to social media, right? And I was thinking about, and when I talk about connection, I talk about being seen, being heard, and being loved, feeling those things. And know that your voice matters, and you should always be creating. Whether you have a business or you are just somebody who uses social media to connect with other people, always be sharing your voice, because there's so many people out there looking for hope. And that's one really quick way to let people know how you feel, what you believe in, and to help them believe in themselves. And I would challenge anybody today to replace 2 text messages today with a voice message, because there's power in voice, and yet we very rarely use it when we talk to people through our phones.
Man, seen, hear, and love. I like those 4-letter words a whole lot more. Hey, thank you so much, and thank everybody that is listening to this podcast. I really, really, truly appreciate your love and your attention and your support, and I love each and every one of you guys from the bottom of my heart. If you like this podcast, which you probably, oh my gosh, how could you not? Go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button.
Just relax.
Hit that like and
hit the like button.
That's right. And if you're on a podcast platform, give a brother 5 stars and some feedback as well. Right here on the Drop Your Baggage podcast, where we talk to people that are dope, that can bring you hope and show you a technique that can help you cope. I'm your host, Charles Woolfork, the self-talk engineer. And until next time, ladies and gentlemen, take care of yourself and take care of one another. Peace.